Welcome. Welcome to another Friday of Couples Convo. We are constructive, and we're really glad to come back again.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How was your week?
How was yours?
Overly busy.
Science is coming up.
Yeah, I heard something about that
You
today.
did, huh?
I did.
Was anybody standing outside yet?
No, not yet.
Waiting?
No, not yet. But my daughter had to send some candygrams.
Already?
Yeah, well, they had to have the candygram in today so that they can prep it and then have it delivered to the classrooms. I don't know.
They had the
After New Year's.
advertisement of their flowers on the front page.
Visit 990.
So I can't wait to talk about that because that'll be an interesting perspective on Valentine's Day and the meaning. Should couples celebrate Valentine's Day? I can't wait to talk about that.
It's a lot of talk around Valentine's Day this time of year, of course, and then people have their opinions, and some good, some bad, some indifferent. So yes. I can't wait for people to hear some objective views of Valentine's Day when it pertains to today's modern couple, and people who are engaging in a relationship for the first time. How significant is it for them at this point? So that'll be fun.
Yeah, and then I'll have a surprise at the end.
Oh no, you and your surprises.
Hey, you gotta do it.
I like surprises though.
So I guess, am I cutting the cards this time?
You're cutting the cards this time.
Because it's hearts. It's hearts, so
yeah, it's okay. I'm going to be that lady and let the man go
first. I thought you were
first.
cutting the cards.
Oh, so if I cut, then you have to pick.
Then I have to pick.
Okay.
That's right.
Good.
Especially since Valentine's is coming up. What are some?
I mean, sometimes couples don't have enough time to have regular conversations, and through conversations and
Couples really doing? Don't they do that now?
No. What average married couple do you know that has a date night with just themselves?
Oh, I do.
Okay, well, you might be one of the exceptions. I said average married couple.
Oh,
average.
Talking
about
oh, okay. Well, I think they do in maybe not as often as they should, or maybe it's because
they build up around maybe one big event like vacation,
right,
or a party, and that may not necessarily be a great way to be, a way to build intimacy,
right? Because you're not alone.
Yeah. You're not alone, right?
Right. You're at a party. You're with people. You're on a vacation. You're with the kids or
right. But
other couples.
And movies hard too, though.
It's not that hard. Holding hands can be intimate. If you share the same movie genre that you both like, and you go to the movie and you watch it together, and you're both into the movie, and you just happen to hold his hand, or, you know, he happens to put his arm around your shoulder, that's a form of intimacy. You're not going to just let anybody do that to you. Well, I don't know.
Or unless you're going to, you know, one of those.
We're not talking about those. This is a family show.
Action adventure flicks.
Action adventure.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You know, or superhero movie. You're going to be flying in through the air, and
you might still, at a really tense part, grab your partner's leg and say, "Ah!"
Maybe a little tough. Maybe a little tough.
I don't know. It could happen.
But I think the biggest thing though is that we've lost that communication piece. And I think that is a great way to build intimacy. So, I mean, I know, like, going out for coffee and talking to one another.
Yeah.
You know, how are you doing? You know, what are your, not necessarily fears, but what's going on in your life? You know, what are your dreams? Because I mean, our dreams and stuff, you know, change all the time.
All the time.
And we have to really, you know, think about how we can uplift our partners.
Right.
And
because,
and, you know,
yeah, I mean, with life, we get into a routine of work, home, kids, work, home, kids. And then the conversations are typically around, what are we doing for the kids? What are we doing for the house? What are we doing for our jobs?
Right.
And we don't necessarily have that kind of communication. That's why I was saying, if you can get to a point where you're vulnerable with your partner, that automatically increases the intimacy, because you're showing each other a different side. And sometimes those conversations are what brings the vulnerability about.
And you think the vulnerability is not there?
No, for some, no. Because it just depends on what their position is in life, what their position is with the family, you know, how their stress level is, or, you know, and is communication important to them? Or were they ever really taught how to properly communicate with a spouse or a significant other? So,
yeah, I you know, for those of you that are listening, I'd love to, you know, get comments about that. Are you able to be vulnerable with your partners? Is that something that's really lacking, and maybe it is keeping you from being more intimate with your partners? Yeah.
Right.
It'd be great to explore, and hopefully, you know, over the course of the weekend and leading up to Valentine's Day, you know, you will find those ways that you can, you know, from a non-sexual standpoint, be more intimate with your partner, and it may help with a breakthrough.
Yeah, I think it would. I mean, I think most of American couples think intimacy is just that sexual connection, and that's what they save it all up for that moment, so that they make it maybe the best sex that they've had, or they make it, you know, the highlight of their week is like, okay, this is the time that we're going to do it. But is it really intimate if you're saying we're going to have sexual relations on Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 o'clock? You know.
Well, that's the one question we'll have to get to.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's something that even though it's not spontaneous,
right,
it may be something that may need to happen, because I do think, then that's another question for another day.
Right.
But I do think that part of it is also lacking.
Right. The spontaneity of
yeah, absolutely. Well, no, just the act itself.
Right.
You know, where couples are really just engaging and doing it more. I think that even though that is kind of the lead or primary, we think that's the way intimacy should be.
Right.
We are losing that a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, because a lot of times when you get, you know, together as a married couple, or people who are not married and they've been in a relationship for a long time, it can become routine, or it could be like, okay, this is my job.
Yeah.
This is like my role as the woman, this is my role as the man.
Right.
This is what we're going to do. And there's really not any intimacy involved. It's just we're here to connect, and then what do people do? They roll over, go to sleep, get up, take a shower, whatever they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's the act, and then it's over. So there's no intimacy in that.
Right.
So it's another question for another day.
That looks like we got a lot of work on that one.
We got a lot of work on that one.
Okay.
It's going to be deep. We're going to have to really peel back the layers of the onion.
The onion?
Yeah, the onion.
Or the banana?
There's not that many layers on a banana.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right,
Oh,
next.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
your turn.
Darn it.
You going right for the top. Okay.
Always. I like to go right to the top. That's how I am.
Gotcha.
Do you think growing up around healthy marriages helps you in marriage?
Well, I think it absolutely does help. You know, I'm trying to think, how old am I? My parents have been married 50 plus years, 50 years. So, and they've had a very healthy marriage, and I think that helps to see a kind of what it's all about, because our view of what marriage is actually skewed a little bit. And it's funny that this is one of the questions that came up. So last week I was in the gym at New York Sports Club. Shout out New York Sports Club. And there were two brothers that just happened to be there, and they were talking about one of their friends was getting married, and they used words like, "Oh, trapped," and
it's over.
It's over, yeah, and you know. And I really, really wanted to go over there so bad.
You should have.
Well, it's a little weird. It can be a little weird in the gym.
I don't know.
I mean, we weren't in the gym; it was in the locker room.
Oh, well, that's a little bit more weird.
If I would have been close to them, I probably would have, said something.
Right.
But they were having their own conversation, and they were young.
Okay.
They were young brothers. They probably in their maybe early 30s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's young.
Okay.
And it would be great to know where their stories were. Maybe they didn't know what a healthy marriage was.
Right.
And I think that helps.
Right.
At least one of the partners goes in a healthy marriage, because I think if you haven't seen healthy marriages, and I've coached couples where the marriages weren't healthy, and so they didn't really have a framework or a playbook to go by. And so when things got challenging or got tough, they're like, okay, I guess this is the end of the road.
Right. So my view, I think it's kind of hard, because you can grow up around healthy marriages and then feel pressure that if you do get married, you're gonna have to live up to that, that standard. And that might be a little bit too much pressure for somebody to handle, but it's good to have that. But then there's also, I've known people who have, both the husband and wife have come from divorced marriages or marriages where one of the parents was cheating and what have you, but their marriage is solid because they vowed not to be like what they saw. So I think it just depends on the individual of what they make out of the situation. So if they grew up around a healthy marriage, they might feel pressure and say, I don't want to do that. Like, that's too much for me because, what have you. But then if they grew up around an unhealthy marriage, they could say, I don't want to be that either. My parents were together and they separated when I was 13, but I had them in the house until I was 13. So I knew what that looked like. I just knew that I wanted to be a little bit different.
Okay.
It wasn't that they were unhappy or what have you. It's just that there wasn't really a lot of intimacy. We'll go back to that. We would have relatives over all the time. We had great family celebrations. They would laugh a lot when other family members were there. But on their own, really, it was, this is what happened today. My dad just got in from work. He's doing this. We do our homework. We show him all our homework, and we all go to bed. So we didn't really deal a lot with the emotional, the intimacy, or what have you. So I vowed that when I got married, I wasn't going to be that. Not that it was bad. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't a bad marriage. Something happened. They weren't together after 30.
Right.
But it wasn't bad from what we saw. So I just think it really depends on the individual who's come from either a good or a healthy or a non-healthy marriage, good or bad, whatever you want to call it, what they make of their own relationship.
Well, that's good. So what makes that marriage healthy?
Communication is one thing.
Okay.
It's definitely a thing. You have to have communication. And then it's understanding. I think for myself in relationships that I've had and the marriage that I have now is understanding the limitations of your partner and the limitations of yourself. Where do you want to go as a unit, and where your personal dreams lie? Can they marry one another?
Right.
You know what I mean? Can there still be space for you to be an individual and be a unit? And that's important, because a lot of times, like the brothers in the gym, they're concerned about losing their freedom, losing the chance to hang out. Do you want to be married to the one person for the rest of your life? There's so many options out there. That's what men always talk about. But, it's just, you have to have that communication, you have to have that understanding. And ultimately you have to realize that nothing you do as the man or nothing I do as a woman could ultimately change another person. It's something that they need to change. So if there's some fundamental foundational issues, they're going to be present from the beginning. It's how much do we plan to tolerate that? And do we think we can tolerate that for the long haul? And most people think that they can. And then it gets too tough. Like you said, they hit a challenge and then they want to run.
Right.
So,
I mean, and I think it's relatively easy if you talk to, if you really get to know your partner.
right.
I'm gonna say ahead of time, but you make a point to be in that person's life, really get to know what they want, because if you don't do that, what happens is that you start to drift apart, or you're surprised when you're like, oh, that's what you want,
Right.
and it's like, oh, you didn't tell me that before,
Right.
but you never, and it's like, oh, well, you never asked,
Right.
and so I think.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Our kind of ideal marriages, or what we think is an ideal marriage, is not to go a point where this stuff is passed down.
Right.
We don't say, oh, this is what you need to look for in a partner.
Right.
Are they going to care for you? Have mutual respect?
Right.
Communicate. Not just about the serious stuff, but just
Fun stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff too. Yeah. And I think, and laugh together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very important.
You gotta laugh.
People forget that stuff.
You gotta be able to be stupid with one another.
Yeah.
Like, totally stupid. Like, fall down on your face, I slipped on somebody's, busted my butt. Stupid.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not that that's happened to me, but.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm cool. But.
Okay.
Always. But I mean, I'm just saying you have to be, and that's that vulnerability that I keep talking about. You have to be able to allow yourself to be stupid, to be comical, to be idiotic at times, and laugh, just to know that you're human and you don't have to be perfect and on all the time.
All the time, yeah. Oh, yeah, on. Definitely not to be on all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's really tough. That's
hard.
I mean, that's hard.
Yeah.
If you have to feel you have to look a certain way,
Right.
or you can't, talk a certain way, or at least always have to be nice and on. That's a tough thing to have to deal with all the time.
I'm so glad I don't think like that.
I know, that's great, isn't it? Isn't it? You have to think like that.
It's so great that I don't have to think like that.
So I mean, really, and kind of to sum up, healthy marriages are different for each person. But you want to, there's those ingredients of respect and communication. Those are things you have to look for when you're looking for that mate. On Valentine's Day. So even if they, you think this may be the one, and on Wednesday, is it Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Really think about, do they have those real solid ingredients to make it long lasting?
Absolutely, I agree.
Oh, I guess it's my turn, right?
Yes, it is your turn. We're going.
I'm not doing the top thing.
Don't do the top thing. Don't be like me. Be different.
No, I am different.
Be yourself.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What's an ideal romantic evening look like?
For me?
Yeah, for you.
A movie.
A movie, okay.
Just quiet time.
Deadpool's coming out soon.
I can't wait. But that's not the quiet
Oh,
time.
that's not it? Okay.
Black Panther.
Oh, Black Panther's coming out,
Right.
yes.
That would be a quiet time for
That'd
me.
be a quiet time, gotcha.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
I don't know about that. You're going to be hooping and hollering.
Oh, I'm going to have a blast.
Yeah, so.
But it's going to be a movie.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's the perfect
The movie,
romantic.
okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm really simple. Like, I don't want lavish dinners and I don't want to be given gifts galore. I just want basic things. We can do coffee and a movie. We can go to Panera and a movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I want the quality of time versus the quantity and the money spent. I don't care about all that.
Okay.
So I could just get a Fire Stick and watch it in my house if I have to.
Oh. Well, it's defeating the cable companies always
I
exciting.
could care less about the cable. Right. Any chance I get, Mr. Cable.
That could be a hype.
That's exciting
hype
enough.
right there, right?
That's like a good thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it varies. I'm more of a chameleon type, so there are different ways. I like music, so I always want to make sure there's
Okay.
some music around.
Okay.
You know, well, Marvin Gaye. I have listened to Marvin Gaye on the way over to get, you know.
To get in the mood?
Yeah, this is my psyched music right there.
I was listening to worship music on the way here to get in the mood. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Totally
and
different.
So, I think when you're just present, because so it could be at a very nice, very wonderful restaurant that, as long as your partner enjoys the meal and the conversation's great, that's fantastic. But like you said, you could over coffee where you're really just into each other and just talking.
That's it. Walk by a
you know,
fountain.
be,
Get some
and
ice
I think it's a, you know, so much is built on it's got to be so over the top.
Yeah.
And, you know, be ideal. But I think if you know your partner
Right.
and you know what they're into, I think if you really listen to them and what they want,
Yeah.
and you provide that, then that's what really, then it makes it ideal because you're actually giving, you're giving of yourself for them.
Right. I get it.
That was a quick one.
That was a quick one.
Okay, so let's see. You want to try to get one more in before the Valentine's debate? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, that's the Valentine's debate.
that's the one.
That's the one. I'll put that one.
Save that one for at the end.
Okay.
What's that?
Oh, this is a good one.
Ooh.
Today, do we confuse passion with love? I'll let you feel that first.
You let me feel that one.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, when the relationship don't work, they do. Yeah, I think you can. You can confuse it. You can, especially if you are one that is a very passionate person. And I don't want to really pick on the guys, but
Right.
I guess I will.
You should.
Guys can pick up on that very quickly.
Okay.
If you are someone that is really touchy-feely, maybe almost more so than you should in the beginning, a guy is going to pick up on that. We're offensive people, so you know we're going to take what the defense gives us.
Oh,
I should
okay.
I mean, that's more kind of a basketball term, which I'll allude to
Okay.
later on.
I get it.
So we're going to take what the defense gives us. So if the woman is just really into more of the physicalness, we're going to be like, oh, okay, hey, she's about it.
Yeah.
And not thinking later on that this may bother us as a man.
Right.
Because there could be negative consequences to that.
Absolutely.
It could be borderline stalking or,
Ooh,
and now if
stalkers.
you want to get rid of the person, you see it's not working out, and then what am I going to do? And then you have to go to extremes
Right.
in order to break it off.
Yes.
You know, plant that seed. Oh, I was with someone. You know,
Right.
You got to do. Some people do that.
Sometimes planting that
They
seed is
force it,
just
yeah.
another level of stalkerism, and it goes way over crazy.
So, I think that's where the problem may come in, and then that the judgment is clouded because I thought that person really cared about me,
Right.
where in fact it was like that person was just really passionate
Right.
about
Being passionate.
Yeah, about being passionate, and that also kind of ties in if you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right.
You may think that if we don't have the passion,
Our relationship
this is not a real
stinks.
relationship.
Yeah, it's
And so it's like
playtime.
okay, that's where it gets confusing.
So I'll take another angle on that. I think the reason why a lot of people can mistake passion for love is look at everything they put on television, look at everything they put in movies. You have these two actors that are paid millions of dollars to throw themselves at one another and make it look like this is the best thing since sliced bread. So you have young, impressionable people going to these movies, seeing this and saying, that's what I want my love to look like. That's what I want, my husband or my wife to be for me. Like, I want them to just be like, this is the best thing ever. And that's where, you can take it back to what a healthy relationship looks like or a non-healthy relationship looks like. Or you can just say that there's so many visual stimulants out there that are representing what they think people want to see in a relationship. And they get it wrong 90% of the time, because then you have these people looking for these things that they're never going to find.
Right. But they only have 2 hours.
But 2 hours can leave a huge impression on people.
That's true. But they don't have a lot of time, so.
But
I think that's
still, look at The Notebook, the movie The Notebook.
I didn't see that movie.
Okay, it started out with this couple, young couple, and they were very passionate. But then over time, they became an elderly couple, and it kind of chronologizes their life together as a couple, a husband and wife, what they went through, and then it shows them old, and what the relationship looks like there, how it transpired into something different, into more intimacy, into more understanding, into more compassion, and they did that in 2 hours.
Right.
So they went from passion to lifelong, life-standing relationship. You know what I mean? So the passion was all up front, hot and heavy. They were really bothered, and that temper and the anger and everything. And then they showed how that tapers off, and the real relationship.
So that's a good movie to watch.
That's a great movie to watch if you want to look at what a healthy, passionate now long-term relationship looks like. That would be the movie I would suggest. So I think that you have to look for visual stimulants or examples. If you have to, look for ones that are a little bit more healthy and not just about 2 hours of throwing themselves at each other in every kind of sexual position possible.
So not 9.5 weeks.
Not 9.5 weeks, not 50 Shades of any kind of garbage that they have out there.
They have another one coming out.
That comes out tonight, 50 Shades Freed.
Gotcha.
Garbage.
Freed. Interesting.
I'll never see it.
Interesting stuff.
But I mean, but those are some of the things. So then you have these people who are looking at that. They're talking about, you know, they've got a playroom. You know what I mean? So it goes into a whole different thing. And then you have people who will be like, hey, I want that in my relationship.
Right.
Crazy.
Okay.
So there you go.
So there you go.
There you have it.
Watch The Notebook.
Watch The Notebook.
Not 9.5 weeks.
And not 50 Shades Freed.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's the Valentine's debate.
Oh, that one?
Yes.
I put it on the bottom like you said.
Oh. Okay.
Should Valentine's Day have so much emphasis on a relationship? Absolutely not. It's one day of the year. Doesn't really mean a lot.
It's a Super Bowl of love.
It is not the Super Bowl of love. The Super Bowl of love is a lifetime relationship. That's the Super Bowl of love.
Yeah, but think about all of the emphasis that Valentine's has put on a relationship. If you can get through, isn't there all these seasons? If you can get all the seasons up to Valentine's Day, then, you know, it could be a hit. You know that.
First of all, most couples, young couples, will either break up before Thanksgiving and Christmas because they don't want to spend holidays with somebody and spend money on those types of gifts.
Right.
And then when spring is coming around and they feel a little springtime love in the air, then they want to get a girl or a guy before Valentine's Day so they can, you know, cash in on this holiday with candy and flowers and extravagant dinners and professions of love that will be there for one day. Right. In most cases.
Yeah, how are they cashing in?
They're cashing in because they're getting, well, the female or the male. It's mostly the females who cash in because the guys go out and buy all this stuff. But, you know, and then they cash in. They get the gifts, they get the dinner, they get the whatever. Sometimes people get engaged on this day.
Females don't know. They're buying the stuff, but they are buying it at the last minute.
Of course they are.
You know,
because that's how men think.
I've seen the lines.
That's how they think.
I've seen the lines
it's
at the gas station,
on
at the
Valentine's
train station.
Right.
We didn't have a picture. I wish I could have found one, but
no.
So folks can get enlightened, you know, because there's no real thought that's going into Valentine's Day.
So why do it?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's that important. I mean, a friend of mine at work said to me today, and I said to you I was going to work this in, that Valentine's Day is a day for single people to tell other single people, hey, I kind of like you. Because when you're married, when you're in a long-term relationship, you're doing that stuff every day, or you should be doing that stuff every day. And if you're not doing it every day and you just do it on Valentine's Day, then you got some issues in your relationship you need to look at other than this day.
Yeah, but there's countless wives that may go left because they didn't celebrate Valentine's Day.
Okay, well, that's them.
So it's out there, so you can't.
It depends on what the precedent was when they got together. Like, now, did he always make a big deal of Valentine's Day, and then when they got married, he decided, okay, I don't have to do it anymore because now I got her, so I can just chill, or vice versa. Now she's got him, so she can just chill. It just depends on, was it always important in the courting phase And if it was, then it should be important throughout the marriage because that's a precedent that they set together. But if it was something that was like, okay, it's a day, we'll go out to dinner, blah, 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 then it's not a big deal in marriage because it's not a big deal.
I wonder what you guys think, but if there's no communication though, see that's where it comes back to intimacy and the communication. I have seen it where it's a barometer check. Oh, he doesn't love me anymore because he forgot Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's sad.
And so you could, I mean, that sounds great. What you're saying is like, okay, but I do think it is a barometer check that is used to say if it's, oh, if he doesn't get me this or that. And so guys are pre-programmed. It's like, oh, I better at least come home with something.
Right.
And that's why they stand in them. That's why they
stand in the lines. But then that's the problem then, because you shouldn't need to use one day as a barometer check, or if he doesn't get me roses and this. So now you're basing your love on material things and not on however many years you spent together, the things that you've shared, if you know, the lives that you've created. So if you're gonna still boil it down to, well, he didn't buy me roses on February 14th, so he doesn't love me anymore, you gotta seriously check yourself and check your relationship.
Yeah, it's well, fortunately or unfortunately, we have to somehow get out of the mold.
Right.
I mean, I know the card companies are going to be mad at us.
Let them be mad.
And you know, FTD or what's the 1-800-Flowers?
1-800-Flowers.
What's the pajamas? Pajamagram.
Oh.
Yeah, because
now they have Adore Me, which is a bra and panty set one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Adore Me.
Adore Me.
You can get a matching bra and panty set for your spouse.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
There you go.
And I think that those are pre-programmed. They run the commercials on the sports shows all the time. You're like, oh yeah, and reminder, I got to get that. And we have to really start to think about and plug in more.
Right.
And how to connect. I mean, like you said, not just on Valentine's Day, all the time.
Yeah. I mean, for me, on the Valentine's Day that I've done in the past, I think I wrote an ode to Laz. And just ran down the first 10 years of our relationship, and all words that I wrote on my own, I created on my own. I printed it out, I framed it, and that was a gift. Okay. One year I made a book of all the reasons why.
Oh, okay.
You know, so without spending tons of money and without going out and spending tons of money on a restaurant, you know, and I think he does the card thing, you know, every once in a while, but if we skip it a year or two, you know, it was never a big deal.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's fantastic.
We have our barometers checked.
Yes, that's great.
In other ways.
So you mentioned book.
Yes, I mentioned book.
You mentioned book.
I did.
So, as a little surprise, my book, I finished a book called In the Paint.
Yes.
In the Paint, y'all.
So happy, In the Paint.
How to Win at the Game of Love.
Yes.
So, our producer Howard, shout out to Howard, is going to post where you can get the book at blurb.com. And I think today actually it's on the screen on the screen now. And so if you get it today, you have to use the code LOVESALE, so LVSALE. You can get it for the price, which is $10.99, and you get another. If you get another one, it's half price.
Oh,
so
one for you and one for your partner.
One for you, one for your partner, one for your friend.
Right.
And I really put a lot of heart and soul in the book, and I'm really excited. Hope to just share, you know, all the things that I've kind of learned when working with clients, some of the things that they deal with, and I used a kind of sports-related theme. To get people to understand, really, I wouldn't say men better, but mostly men better, because if you don't know, men are very passionate about sports.
Yes, they are.
Like, oh, they won't talk to me any other time, but they're yelling at the screen about the Eagles.
Yeah,
and,
I'm like the dude in that. That's my team, and I'm like the dude there.
You know, and the Patriots get, so, we want them to be passionate about their marriages. So this is what this book is for. And hey, go out and get it. Tell everyone, your friends, about Couples Convo. We're really excited that you were here tonight.
Thank you.
And we look forward to, sharing our thoughts again.
On number 3.
All right.
All right.
Aileen.
Keith.
Have a good night.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.